Smart people don't like you. That's the message that Trump has been hearing loud and clear lately. And it's not just coming from Washington or New York. It's coming from across the Atlantic, from London, where the British are once again showing the world how to troll a political figure with style, precision, and brutal wit. What they just pulled off is not only shocking, it's game-changing. And if you thought the famous Trump baby balloon was the peak of creative trolling, you are about to find out how wrong you were. Back in 2018, London gave us that unforgettable moment. A massive orange baby blimp floating over Parliament Square, capturing every single trope people associate with Trump. The hair, the scowl, the phone glued to his hand. And Trump's reaction was exactly what they wanted. He threw a tantrum, threatened to cancel, acted like the overgrown child they were portraying. That was 5 years ago. Fast forward to his second term, and the British haven't let up. They've only gotten sharper. Recently, during Trump's visit to the UK, bus stop posters went up across London mocking him. But then came something that no one saw coming. A political activist group called Everyone Hates Elon carried out a stunt on Trump's new golf course in Scotland. They quietly installed a memorial plaque on a bench there, and this wasn't just any plaque. It was brutal. Packed into those few engraved lines were references to Trump's obvious health problems, the possibility of his impending natural decline, and his notorious relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. One line in particular cut deep, that Trump once described Epstein as a terrific guy. That wasn't fabricated, that was Trump's own statement from 2002 on record. To immortalize it in metal and place it on Trump's personal property was a masterclass in trolling. London applauded, social media applauded, and Trump, predictably, fumed. But that was just the beginning. That same group raised more than $40,000 to fund their next move. And the result? A 4,300 square foot image of Trump and Epstein together displayed on the lawn of Windsor Castle, the very place where Trump was scheduled to meet the King and Queen of the United Kingdom. Think about that. Trump walking into a state visit, cameras flashing, world leaders watching, and there is a billboard-sized reminder of his connections to Epstein staring him in the face. It's shocking, it's humiliating, and it's entirely intentional. And if that weren't enough, Windsor Castle's gift shop stocked coffee mugs with that same picture of Trump and Epstein printed right on them. Tourists could pick one up as a souvenir, as if the scandal was part of British royal memorabilia. That's not just trolling, that's cultural humiliation on an international stage. And it's working. Now, all of this ties directly into a story that is not getting the attention it deserves in mainstream media. Trump's infamous Doodle. You have seen the clip by now. The so-called birthday card silhouette sketch he gave to Epstein. Late-night comedians joked that it looked more like Vladimir Putin than a woman. But here's the serious point. This was not just a doodle. It was, in effect, a signed confession. Let's be clear. Trump has always obsessed over how women look. He's commented on his daughter's body since she was a baby. He openly talks about big tatas as if it's a personal requirement. So, if Trump were sketching an adult woman, his drawing would not look like a childlike figure with a flat chest and stick-thin frame. Yet that's exactly what the silhouette showed. The disturbing implication is obvious, and the accompanying note only made it worse. The exchange of words between Trump and Epstein in that birthday book reads like a secret code between two men who knew exactly what they were talking about. There must be more to life than having everything, Trump writes. Epstein replies, "Nor will I, since I also know what it is." Then Trump, "We have certain things in common." Epstein, "Yes, we do." And finally, Trump again, "Enigmas never age. Have you noticed that?" Followed by Epstein, "Happy birthday, and may every day be another wonderful secret." Read in context, those words are chilling. And when you pair them with Trump's sketch, it becomes impossible to dismiss as harmless. Yet Trump and his allies are doing exactly that. They're denying he ever signed it. They're circulating images of his signature to argue that it's not his handwriting. But the problem for them is that Trump's signatures have always varied. Sometimes he signs Trump, sometimes just Donald. The Wall Street Journal has published multiple variations dating back to 2000 and 2006 that match the Doodle perfectly. So if their entire defense is that the signature doesn't look consistent, that argument collapses immediately, which leaves us with what's on the page, the drawing, the words, and the unmistakable conclusion that Trump knew far more about Epstein's activities than he's ever admitted. That's why these trolling campaigns in London matter so much. They aren't just jokes, they're reminders. They're ways of keeping the Epstein connection in public view when Trump and his supporters desperately want it to disappear. Because the longer it stays in the conversation, the harder it becomes for Trump to rewrite history. Internationally, the implications are massive. Here you have the United Kingdom, America's closest ally, allowing these kinds of protests and stunts to take place openly during a state visit. That's not just satire, that's a signal. It tells the world that Trump's reputation overseas is toxic, that the UK public, and even institutions like Windsor Castle, are willing to embarrass him in ways that would be unthinkable for a sitting U.S. president under normal circumstances. Domestically, the story feeds into a larger problem for Trump. Every time his name is linked to Epstein, it reminds voters of corruption, abuse, secrecy, and scandal. It reinforces the idea that his presidency was less about leadership and more about protecting himself and his inner circle. And it shows just how willing foreign countries are to turn him into the punchline rather than treat him like a statesman. All eyes are now on how Trump responds. Will he lash out at the UK the way he lashes out at domestic critics? Will he threaten to cancel meetings or insult the British monarchy? The next 48 hours of his state visit could decide whether this becomes a full-blown diplomatic embarrassment. Because make no mistake, this isn't just a prank. It is a calculated political move designed to expose Trump's vulnerabilities and tie him permanently to the Epstein scandal. If the pressure continues, the consequences could reshape the political future. Investigations into Epstein's network haven't fully closed. Public awareness is growing. And activists are making sure the story never dies, no matter how hard Trump tries to bury it. The outcome is uncertain, but one thing is clear. London has raised the bar on political trolling, and in doing so, they've forced the world to confront uncomfortable truths about Trump. So stay tuned. This story isn't over. If anything, it's only getting started. And in the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you believe Trump's doodle was an accidental joke or a signed confession? Do you think international trolling campaigns are the most effective way of keeping scandals alive? Share your thoughts, hit that like button, subscribe for more breaking updates, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter in this unfolding story.